won $3 million in the lottery and my parents said, "You will give half to your sister or get out of the house." I refused, and the next day before I left, I found them tearing up my lottery ticket, because you're envious, but I laughed my head off because that ticket was. You want to know about justice? About karma? About watching entitled people get exactly what they deserve? Buckle up, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. My name is Sarah, and I'm 24 years old. Up until 6 months ago, I was living at home with my parents, working 2 part-time jobs just to afford gas money and the occasional coffee. My parents, Linda and Robert, had made it crystal clear that I was a family disappointment. My sister Emma, 26, and their golden child, could do no wrong. She had the perfect job, the perfect fiancé, and according to them, the perfect attitude about family responsibility. Emma lived in a gorgeous downtown apartment that my parents helped her afford, drove a car they co-signed for, and had her wedding entirely funded by their savings. Meanwhile, I was expected to be grateful for the privilege of living in their basement and contributing to household expenses despite barely making minimum wage. The favoritism wasn't subtle. When Emma wanted to go back to school for her master's degree, they liquidated their retirement fund to pay for it. When I asked for help with community college tuition, I got a lecture about learning the value of hard work and not expecting handouts. When Emma crashed her car after a night of drinking, they bought her a newer one and told everyone it was a random accident. When I got a flat tire, I had to walk to work for 2 weeks until I could afford a used replacement. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the lottery ticket that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning in March when I bought my usual weekly lottery ticket at the gas station convenience store. I've been buying the same numbers for 2 years since I turned 22, a combination of family birthdays that, ironically, included my parents and sisters. $5 every week, which was sometimes the difference between eating lunch or going hungry, but it was my one tiny rebellion against a life that felt completely predetermined. That Saturday, I was folding laundry in the basement when I remembered to check my numbers. I pulled up the lottery website on my cracked phone screen and nearly dropped it when I realized what I was seeing. All 6 numbers matched. $3 million. I must have checked the numbers 15 times before it sank in. $3 million. Enough to move out, go back to school, start over somewhere else, maybe even buy a house. After years of being treated like a burden, I was suddenly financially independent. I was smart enough not to tell anyone immediately. I'd heard too many stories about lottery winners whose families came out of the woodwork with their hands out. Instead, I researched everything I could about claiming winnings, taxes, financial advisors, and protecting my privacy. I took 3 weeks to get my ducks in a row. The claiming process was more complex than I'd expected. I had to hire a lawyer first, then an accountant, then a financial advisor. After taxes, federal, state, and local, I'd actually walk away with about $1.8 million, which was still more money than I'd ever dreamed of having. The plan was simple: claim the money quietly, move out without drama, and start fresh somewhere else. I even looked into apartments in different cities, excited about the possibility of escaping the suffocating dynamic of my family. I'd already started the legal process to claim my winnings and had consultations lined up with financial advisors. But my sister Emma had always been perceptive, especially when it came to sensing when someone might have something she wanted. "You're acting weird," she announced during dinner 3 weeks later, pointing her fork at me accusingly. "You've been smiling all week. It's creepy." "Maybe I'm just having a good week," I replied, keeping my voice neutral. "Sarah doesn't have good weeks," my father chimed in with what he probably thought was humor. "What's going on?" I should have deflected better, but I was tired of being the family punching bag, and my newfound financial security had given me a confidence I wasn't used to having. "I won some money," I said casually. The entire table went silent. "How much money?" my mother asked, her voice sharp with suspicion. "A significant amount." Emma leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Define significant." "Significant enough that I'm going to be moving out soon." The explosion was immediate and predictable. "Moving out?" My father's voice rose. "After everything we've done for you? You're just going to abandon your family?" "We've supported you for 24 years, my mother added, her face flushing red. "Fed you, housed you, put up with your attitude, and now you think you can just take your money and run?" "It's my money," I said firmly. "And I'm an adult." Emma had been quiet during my parents' rant, but now she spoke up with a tone she always used when she wanted to sound reasonable while being completely unreasonable. "Sarah, family is supposed to support each other. If you really want a lot of money, the fair thing would be to share it. Especially with me, I'm getting married next year, and you know how expensive weddings are." "Your wedding is already paid for," I pointed out. "Mom and Dad emptied their savings for it." "That's different," Emma snapped. "That's an investment in my future. But this is just luck. You didn't earn this money." "Neither did you." My father slammed his hand on the table. "Enough. Sarah, you will not speak to your sister that way. And you will not be selfish with money that could help this entire family. How much did you win?" My mother demanded again. I hesitated for a moment, then decided they'd find out eventually anyway. $3 million. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Emma's face lit up with that calculating expression I knew so well. $3 million? Sarah, that's life-changing money. You could help me and David buy our first house, help Mom and Dad rebuild their retirement fund after they spent it on my education, maybe even help with the wedding upgrades we've been wanting. Or, I said slowly, I could use it to start my own life. My father's face was turning purple. Your own life? You are starting your own life? By helping your family. That's what responsible adults do. When Emma got that signing bonus at her job, did she share it with the family? I asked. That was different, my mother said quickly. That was earned income. And when she got that inheritance from Great Aunt Margaret last year, did she contribute to household expenses? Sarah, stop being petty, Emma interjected. This is $3 million. We're not talking about a few $1,000s here. You're right, I said, standing up from the table. We're talking about $3 million that I won, with a ticket I bought, using my own money. My father stood up too, his voice dropping to that dangerous low tone he used when he was really angry. Let me make this very clear, Sarah. You live in this house rent-free. You eat our food. You use our utilities. If you want to continue enjoying those privileges, you'll share that money with your family. Specifically, you'll give half to Emma for her wedding and house fund. Half? I couldn't hide my shock. You want me to give away $1.5 million? We want you to do the right thing, my mother said primly. Emma has always been responsible with money. She'll invest it wisely. You'll probably just waste it. And if I refuse? My father's smile was cold. Then you can get out of our house. Tonight. Emma was nodding along enthusiastically. Sarah, come on. Be reasonable. I'd do the same for you if our situations were reversed. That was such obvious bullshit that I almost laughed. Emma had never shared anything in her life unless forced to, and even then, she'd found ways to make me feel guilty for taking it. I need time to think about this, I said finally. You have until tomorrow morning, my father declared. Either you agree to give Emma half the money, or you pack your bags and leave. I went to my room that night with my mind racing. They were actually trying to extort me. My own family was holding my housing hostage unless I gave away half of my lottery winnings to my sister, who was already more financially secure than I'd ever been. But here's the thing they didn't know, I'd already started the process to claim the money. During those 3 weeks, I'd been working with lawyers and financial advisors to set up the proper structures to protect my winnings. The funds would be available within another week. The only evidence of my win that they could access was the original lottery ticket, which I'd kept in my wallet. As I lay in bed that night, listening to my parents and Emma talking loudly in the kitchen about how they were going to teach me about family responsibility, a plan began forming in my mind. They wanted to play hardball? Fine. But they had no idea who they were dealing with. The next morning, I made a show of agonizing over the decision. I came to breakfast looking haggard and defeated, having spent the night creating a fake lottery ticket. Using photo editing software and a high-quality printer at the local print shop, I created a replica that looked convincing at first glance but had completely different numbers that definitely hadn't won anything. I've been thinking all night, I announced. And I just can't bring myself to give away half the money. My father's face immediately darkened. Then you know what that means. I know, I said quietly. I'll pack my things and leave today. Emma actually looked surprised. I think she'd expected me to cave under pressure like I always had before. Sarah, you're really going to choose money over family? She asked, and for a moment, she almost sounded hurt rather than calculating. I'm choosing my future, I replied. I'm sorry you can't understand that. I spent the morning packing my belongings, which didn't take long since I'd never owned much. My parents made pointed comments about how I was making the biggest mistake of my life and how I'd come crawling back within a month. But here's where my plan kicked into high gear. I made sure to leave the fake ticket in my wallet, which I then accidentally left on the kitchen counter when I carried my bags out to my car. 20 minutes later, as I was loading the last of my boxes, I heard shouting from inside the house. I walked back in to find my parents and Emma huddled around the kitchen counter, my wallet open in front of them. Forgot my wallet, I said casually, reaching for it. Sarah, my mother's voice was shaking with rage. We need to talk. I think we've said everything we need to say. No, my father stepped in front of me, blocking my path to the wallet. We haven't. Because apparently, you've been lying to us. Emma was holding the fake lottery ticket, her face flushed with anger. This ticket isn't a winner, Sarah. We checked the numbers online. You've been lying about winning $3 million. I blinked at them in confusion. What are you talking about? These numbers. Emma waved the ticket in my face. None of them matched the winning numbers from last week's drawing. I grabbed the ticket from her hand and stared at it, letting my face go through a progression of confusion, realization, and horror. Oh my God, I whispered. I must have grabbed the wrong ticket. The wrong ticket? My father's voice was dangerously quiet. I bought 2 tickets that week, I said, my voice getting higher and more panicked. I won $3 on one of them, and I thought the other one was the big winner, but I must have mixed them up. The real winning ticket must be. I trailed off, patting my pockets frantically. Must be what? Emma demanded. In my car. Or in my room. Oh God, I need to find it. I started rushing around the house, making a big show of searching through drawers and boxes I'd already packed. My family followed me, their anger building with each passing minute. Sarah, my mother said finally, are you telling us that you put us through this entire ordeal over a $3 winning ticket? I thought it was $3 million. I protested. I was so excited, I didn't double-check the numbers properly. You made us kick you out of the house over $3? My father was shouting now. You kicked me out. I shot back. I never asked you to do that. Emma was staring at the fake ticket with a look of pure rage. So there's no $3 million. Not unless I can find the other ticket, I said desperately. Help me look for it. For the next hour, we tore the house apart looking for a lottery ticket that didn't exist. I made sure to search frantically, getting more and more upset as it became clear we weren't going to find anything. Finally, Emma snapped. This is ridiculous, she announced. Sarah, you're an idiot who can't even read lottery numbers correctly. There is no winning ticket. But there has to be, I insisted tearfully. I checked the numbers so carefully. Clearly you didn't, my father said coldly. And now you've destroyed this family over your own stupidity. I'm still leaving, I said quietly. Even if there's no money, I can't stay here after what you all said to me. Oh, come on, Emma rolled her eyes. Don't be so dramatic. We were only asking for half because we thought you were rich. You were willing to kick me out if I didn't give it to you. That's different, my mother said dismissively. We thought you were being selfish. I was being selfish by not wanting to give away money that was mine? My father waved his hand impatiently. Sarah, just unpack your things and let's pretend this whole mess never happened. No, I said firmly. I'm still leaving. Over what? Your hurt feelings? Emma laughed. Grow up. Over the fact that you all showed me exactly what you think of me, I replied. Money or no money, I'm done. The argument continued for another 20 minutes, but I stood firm. I was leaving, and I wasn't coming back. As I carried my bags out to my car for the final time, Emma followed me. Sarah, you're really going to leave over this? We're family. Family doesn't try to extort each other, I said, opening my car door. We weren't extorting you. We were just looking out for your best interests. I almost laughed at that. By demanding half my money? By making sure you didn't waste it all. Emma's mask was slipping, and I could see the real anger underneath. You've never been responsible with money, Sarah. You would have blown through $3 million in a year. Well, I guess we'll never know now, will we? I got in my car and started the engine. As I backed out of the driveway, I could see my parents watching from the front window, their faces mixture of anger and confusion. Emma stood in the driveway until I turned the corner and couldn't see her anymore. I drove straight to the hotel I'd already booked and checked in under a fake name I'd arranged in advance. Then I sat on the bed and called my financial advisor. Hi, David. It's Sarah. Yes, everything went according to plan. I'll be able to move forward with the property purchases we discussed. That afternoon, I finalized my lottery claim and confirmed the timeline for receiving my winnings. Everything would be ready within the week. But the real satisfaction came 2 weeks later, after I'd received my money and quietly made some purchases. I was having coffee at a cafe downtown when I saw Emma walking down the street with her fiancé, David. They were clearly house hunting, stopping to peer in the windows of real estate offices and pointing at listings. I watched them for a few minutes, then decided to have a little fun. I walked up behind them as they stood looking at a house listing in a window. That's a beautiful house, I said casually. Emma spun around, her eyes widening when she saw me. Sarah? What are you doing here? House hunting, I said with a smile. Actually, I just bought a place. Maybe you know it? I gave her the address of my new house. David looked confused. Wait, that house just sold. For cash. The realtor said it was some kind of lottery winner. Emma's face went white. Lottery winner? Oh, I said, my smile getting wider. Did I forget to mention? I found the real winning ticket. The silence that followed was beautiful. You found it? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. It was in my car the whole time. Silly me, I'd stuck it in the sun visor for safekeeping and completely forgotten about it. I shrugged casually. $3 million. Well, about 1.8 after taxes, but still. Life-changing money. David was staring at Emma with a confused expression. Wait, I thought Sarah lost a lottery ticket worth $3. That's what we thought too, I said helpfully. Turns out there were 2 tickets, just like I said. The one my family found was worth $3. The one I found was worth $3 million. Emma's face was cycling through several different colors. So you really did win $3 million? I really did. And you didn't tell us when you found the real ticket. Why would I? I asked, genuinely confused. You all made it very clear that you thought I was an idiot who couldn't read lottery numbers. You kicked me out of the house. You laughed at me for being dramatic about my hurt feelings. Why would I share good news with people who treated me like that? David was looking back and forth between us like he was watching a tennis match. Emma, what is she talking about? Emma's mouth was opening and closing like a fish. We didn't mean. Oh, you meant every word, I said cheerfully. You meant it when you demanded half my money. You meant it when you said I was selfish for not wanting to give it to you. You meant it when you said I'd waste it. You meant it when you kicked me out. Sarah, Emma's voice was getting desperate. We were surprised. We didn't handle it well. No, you didn't, but we're family. Surely now that you really do have the money. Now that I really do have the money, what? I asked. You want me to pretend none of this happened? You want me to give you half like you originally demanded? Emma's eyes lit up with hope. We could start over. We could, Emma, I interrupted gently. I've already bought a house. I bought a car. I'm enrolled in college starting next semester. I'm seeing a therapist to work through some family issues. I'm building a life. But we could be part of that life, she said desperately. You chose not to be part of my life when you chose money over family. That's not fair. You're the one who. I'm the one who what? Who refused to give away half of my own money to someone who already had everything handed to her. I shook my head. Emma, for the first time in my life, I'm happy. I'm not going to let you ruin that. I started walking away, then turned back. Oh, and Emma? That house you were looking at in the window? I bought that one too. Investment property. I'm thinking of turning it into a rental. Let me know if you know anyone looking for a place, I'll give them the family discount. I left them standing on the sidewalk and went home to my beautiful new house. The look on Emma's face had been absolutely priceless. I'd seen her go through the entire stages of grief in about 30 seconds, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and what I could only assume was acceptance, though it looked more like she was having a stroke. When I got home, I poured myself a glass of the expensive wine I'd bought to celebrate my new life and sat on my back patio, looking out at the garden that came with the house. For the first time since this whole ordeal began, I felt completely at peace. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma, "We need to talk. This isn't over." I screenshot the message and deleted it without responding. Then I blocked her number. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother, Sarah Elizabeth. "You call me right now. What you did to your sister today was cruel and unnecessary." I screenshot that one too, then blocked her number as well. Then my father, "You're destroying this family with your selfishness. When you come crawling back, don't expect us to welcome you with open arms." Screenshot. Block. I was building quite the collection of evidence showing exactly what kind of people my family really were when they thought they could guilt me into compliance. The next day, I decided to have a little more fun with my newfound freedom. I drove my new BMW to the grocery store where I used to work part-time. My former manager, Janet, was working the customer service counter when I walked in. "Sarah," she called out, her face lighting up. "I heard you quit your other job too. Are you doing okay? Do you need your position back?" "Actually, I'm doing great," I said with a smile. "I came to shop, not to work." I proceeded to do the biggest grocery shopping trip of my life. I filled 2 carts with everything I'd ever wanted but couldn't afford: organic produce, premium cuts of meat, fancy cheeses, imported chocolates, top-shelf liquor. The kind of shopping trip that used to be my fantasy when I was counting pennies for ramen noodles. At checkout, Janet rang up my groceries with her eyes getting wider and wider. "Sarah, this comes to $437. "Perfect," I said, pulling out my credit card without hesitation. "Are you sure you can afford this?" she whispered, clearly concerned. "I'm sure," I said with a grin. I had a bit of good luck recently. As I loaded my groceries into my BMW, I saw Mrs. Henderson from down the street from my parents' house. She was clearly doing a double take at seeing me with an expensive car and enough groceries to feed a small army. "Sarah, dear," she called out, hurrying over. "What a lovely car. Is it yours?" "It is," I said proudly. "My goodness, how wonderful. Your parents must be so proud." I paused in loading my groceries. "Actually, Mrs. Henderson, my parents and I aren't speaking right now." Her face fell. "Oh no, dear. What happened?" "They wanted me to give away money that was rightfully mine, and when I refused, they kicked me out." Mrs. Henderson looked shocked. "They kicked you out? But you're their daughter." "Apparently that only matters when it's convenient for them." I finished loading my groceries and got in my car. Through the window, I could see Mrs. Henderson standing there with her mouth open, clearly processing this information. I knew she'd be on the phone with half the neighborhood within an hour. My parents had always cared deeply about their reputation in the community. Learning that people were talking about how they'd kicked out their own daughter over money wasn't going to sit well with them. Sure enough, that evening I got a call from an unknown number. When I answered, it was my father, clearly calling from someone else's phone since I'd blocked his. "Sarah, what the hell are you telling people about us?" "The truth," I said calmly. "Mrs. Henderson called your mother crying, saying we threw you out on the streets." "Didn't you?" "We gave you a choice. You chose to leave." "A choice between giving away half my money or becoming homeless isn't really a choice, Dad. You're making us look like monsters." "I'm not making you look like anything. I'm telling people exactly what happened." "Sarah, if you don't stop spreading lies about this family..." "What lies?" I interrupted. "Did you or did you not demand I give Emma half my lottery winnings?" Silence. "Did you or did you not tell me to get out of the house if I refused?" More silence. "Did you or did you not say that Emma deserved my money more than I did because she's more responsible?" "That's not, Dad, I have recordings. Would you like me to play them for Mrs. Henderson?" The line went dead. I was actually starting to enjoy this. But that wasn't the end of it. Over the next few weeks, my phone rang constantly. My parents called, texting, even showed up at my new house. Emma enlisted flying monkeys, old family friends, distant relatives, even my grandmother, to contact me and tell me I was tearing the family apart. The messages were all variations on the same theme. I was being selfish, I was being cruel, I should forgive and forget, family is more important than money, Emma was sorry and deserved another chance. I ignored them all. Then my mother showed up at my house with Emma in tow. I watched from my living room window as they rang the doorbell repeatedly, then pounded on the door, then walked around the house peering in windows. Finally, I opened the door. "Ladies," I said politely. "Can I help you?" "Sarah, we need to talk," my mother said, pushing past me into the house. "Wow," Emma breathed, looking around at my professionally decorated living room. "This place is gorgeous." "Thank you. I like it." My mother had positioned herself in the center of the room like she was preparing to give a speech. "Sarah, this has gone on long enough. We're family, and families forgive each other." "Okay," I said. "Are you here to apologize?" "We're here to clear the air," she said stiffly. "That's not the same thing." Emma stepped forward. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for how we handled the whole situation. We were shocked and we didn't react well." "What specifically are you sorry for?" I asked. She hesitated. For not believing you about the lottery ticket." "What else?" For asking you to share the money." "You didn't ask. You demanded." "What else?" Emma was getting frustrated. "Sarah, I said I was sorry." "For what, specifically? What else are you sorry for?" "For kicking you out of the house," my mother said impatiently. "There. We're sorry for all of it. Now can we move past this? Are you sorry for calling me selfish?" "Sarah, are you sorry for saying I'd waste the money?" "You're being ridiculous. Are you sorry for saying Emma deserved half my money because she's more responsible than me?" "We never said that." I pulled out my phone and played a recording. "Emma has always been responsible with money. She'll invest it wisely. You'll probably just waste it." My mother's face went white. "You recorded us?" "I record everything now," I said calmly. It's amazing how different people's stories become when they don't think there's proof. Emma was staring at the phone like it was a snake. "How much of our conversation did you record?" "All of it. From the moment I told you about the money to the moment I left the house." Is that legal?" my mother asked nervously. "In this state, yes. It's legal to record conversations you're part of in your own home." Emma sank into one of my chairs without being invited. "So you have proof of everything we said?" "Everything. And you're never going to forgive us?" I sat down across from her. "Emma, let me ask you something. If the situation were reversed, if you had won $3 million, and I had demanded half of it, threatened to kick you out if you refused, called you selfish and irresponsible, and then laughed at you when we thought the ticket was fake, would you forgive me?" Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then, quietly, she said, "No." "Then you understand." My mother was still standing in the center of the room, her face red with anger. "So that's it? You're just going to cut off your entire family forever?" "I'm not cutting anyone off," I said. "You're all welcome to have relationships with me. But they'll be on my terms now, not yours." "What does that mean?" "It means no more taking me for granted. No more treating me like the family failure. No more expecting me to be grateful for scraps while Emma gets everything handed to her. No more making me feel guilty for wanting something for myself." "Those are unreasonable terms," my mother said stiffly. "Then I guess we don't have a relationship." Emma was crying now. "Sarah, I miss you. I miss my sister. You never treated me like a sister, Emma. You treated me like a competitor who wasn't worth worrying about. That's not true. When's my birthday? Emma blinked. What? My birthday. When is it? Emma hesitated, looking genuinely confused by the question. August something? August 15th, I said quietly. I've been your sister for 24 years, Emma. We've celebrated birthdays together every single year of my life, and you're not even sure what month mine is in. I'm bad with dates. When's your birthday? October 22nd. When's David's birthday? March 11th. When's Mom's birthday? April 3rd. When's Dad's birthday? September 19th. But you can't remember mine. Emma was crying harder now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I know you are. But sorry doesn't undo 24 years of being invisible. I stood up. I think it's time for you both to leave. Sarah, please, my mother started. Please leave my house. They left, but not before my mother delivered one final parting shot. You'll regret this, Sarah. Money doesn't buy happiness, and you'll find out soon enough that cutting off your family was the biggest mistake of your life. I closed the door behind them and leaned against it, feeling lighter than I had in years. That was 3 months ago. Since then, I've started college, pursuing a degree in business administration. I've made friends, real friends who like me for who I am, not what I can do for them. I've traveled. I've taken cooking classes, art classes, dancing lessons. I've discovered that I'm actually funny when I'm not constantly walking on eggshells, and that I'm much smarter than my family ever gave me credit for. I've also started dating someone. His name is Marcus, and he's a teacher at the local elementary school. He doesn't know about my lottery win. As far as he knows, I'm just a college student who was lucky enough to inherit some money from a great aunt. He likes me for my sense of humor and my terrible cooking skills and the way I laugh at his jokes. Emma has tried to contact me a few more times. She sent a letter last month telling me that she and David broke up. Apparently, he wasn't comfortable with the family drama and decided he didn't want to marry into a family where siblings could cut each other off over money. She blamed me for ruining her relationship. I didn't respond. My parents sent me a card on my birthday. August 15th, just like I told Emma. Inside, they'd written, "We love you and miss you. We hope you'll come home soon." I kept the card, but I didn't respond to that either. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being too harsh. If I should give them another chance, try to rebuild some kind of relationship. Then I remember that fake lottery ticket, and how quickly they were willing to throw me away when they thought I had nothing to offer them. I remember Emma demanding half my money like it was her right. I remember my father threatening to kick me out if I didn't comply. I remember my mother saying Emma deserved my money more than I did. And I remember the look of pure calculation in Emma's eyes when she realized how much money was involved. These people didn't love me. They loved what they thought I could do for them. And when they thought I couldn't do anything for them, they were perfectly happy to discard me. The real lottery ticket wasn't fake. But their love for me was. And I'm not stupid enough to cash in a winning ticket twice. I'm Sarah, I'm 24 years old, and for the first time in my life, I'm exactly where I want to be. I have my own house, my own car, my own life, and my own future. I won $3 million in the lottery, and the best part wasn't the money. The best part was learning that I didn't need my family's approval to be happy. I just needed their absence. And that, friends, is worth more than all the lottery tickets in the world.